You are listening to the Path to Mindset Mastery podcast. Today, the entire focus is on helping you find routine in the madness of everything that's going on in your world. And if you don't find routine, think about how overwhelmed you're going to feel. You'll feel behind and eventually feel like a failure. And you'll feel like things aren't quite fair. And you'll start to get these little doubts in your head about if you can really succeed during this time. And I'm here to tell you that you can. My name is Brad Bizjak. I'm a mindset coach and inspirational speaker. And for the last 3 years, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and home-based business owners and helped people just like you shatter limiting beliefs, overcome self-doubt, and build confidence and create the life that you truly deserve. This is the Path to Mindset Mastery podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode, and I'm so freaking glad you're here. Quarantine's going bananas right now, and your routine has likely been thrown for a loop. Laundry's probably everywhere. Your spouse is home. You're not used to it. You have all these, you're trying to all of a sudden adopt this whole grade school teacher thing if you're not a teacher, and you're trying to figure all this out, and it's starting to build up some anxiety, some worry, some panic, some fear, like, oh my gosh, can I get some time for myself? So we're going to cover that today. But first things first, I actually have a tool to help you with that. Below, you're going to see a little download called your Mindset First Aid Kit. You can get it by heading to bradbizjak.com/mindset. It's just a free guide I have for you. It's your go-to guide when you're in the dark times, when you're feeling overwhelmed or panicked and you don't know how to break through. And what it's going to do is teach you what these emotions mean and how to turn them around like that. So it's not something where you feel stuck for a couple of days or even a week, you reverse them right away. Instead of just praying these limiting emotions go away, you're going to be able to break through them in an instant and get back to building your legacy. And imagine no longer needing a week to get back on track, but instead you did it in seconds. That's what the Mindset First Aid Kit is for. You can claim that for free at bradbizjak.com/mindset. You can find that link below this video or this podcast as well. And always, if you find value in this podcast today, make sure you're giving us a rating and review. I love seeing your feedback and how much this has touched you. And if you feel compelled to, we'd absolutely love it if you left us a rating and review. And share this on your Instagram stories and your social. People need to hear it. So let's get into it. So before all this chaos in the world happened, I had a pretty solid routine. I had a 2-3 hour monster of a routine where I would exercise and practice gratitude and meditation and eat healthy and work out and all this stuff. And it was awesome. It kept me feeling alive. It kept me feeling sane. Like I had something for myself to prime myself to feel amazing. And then all the chaos in the world started happening. And because my wife and I wanted to be safe, we ended up heading down to our in-laws' house for a month in the country. That's where I'm filming this. I'm actually in my mother and father-in-law's kitchen right now as I'm filming this, which is not normal, right? We're not in my normal office. And so we went down to the country for an entire month, basically, and just to stay safe. And as you can imagine, routine went completely out of whack. Listen, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't like rules very much. And I believe that rules are meant to be broken. And so if you go into someone's house with different rules, it kind of throws you for a different loop, right? And that's no disrespect. Everyone has different rules in their household, but I'm one that I like the way things were. I like that certainty of a routine. And so my routines got out of whack. There's people coming in and out of the kitchen. My wife's father is a farmer, so he's coming in and out of the house. There's just so much going on. And my routine got out of whack. And I remember thinking in the beginning, how the hell am I going to be able to handle this? How am I going to be able to prime myself to feel amazing? And I needed to go through some major adjustments in routine, and that's what we are going to talk about today in this short episode. And the first thing that really helped me to adapt to what's going on is to embrace change. That's tip number one, is to embrace change. I challenge you right now to let go of the death grip need for certainty. We all need some sort of certainty, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if certainty dominates your emotions, and that's the number one thing you crave, it is a recipe for an unfulfilling, stressed out life. It's a recipe to always be questioning, always live in fear. And that's not a good way to achieve your dreams, especially if you're an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur, think about this. You entered into the most uncertain way to provide income for your family. So if you value certainty that highly, it's going to throw you for a loop. So the first thing is to embrace change and let go of this death grip of needing a certain structure and routine. We can always build structure in whatever place we're in, but that's the first thing. If that certainty doesn't go, that craving for certainty doesn't get downgraded a couple pegs, going through all of this is going to be a little chaotic right now. And once that need for certainty is kind of removed, and we just kind of breathe and say, you know what, it's gonna be okay. Give yourself some grace and realize that you are safe. You are okay. You are fine. You are protected during this time. You are quarantined. You are safe, etc. And just realize that you've always gotten through it. When you realize you've always gotten through it, that's a way to kind of trick the brain into not craving certainty as much. Because think about what we do to crave certainty. Sometimes we eat or drink. That's a way that we get certainty. Think about it. When you eat a lot of food, you have to take these big diaphragmatic breaths. It's something that I struggle with myself, and it is a feeling of comfort, a feeling of certainty. Some people like to drink alcohol, right? Because they know that when that alcohol hits their bloodstream, they get a sense of calm and more relaxed. That is certainty. Some people watch the news, and that's their way of gaining certainty. Even though it's giving them a false illusion of control, it's a way to gain certainty. And sometimes people like to have their routines structured in order to gain certainty, right? And that's how I've been. That was one of the ways that I have craved certainty. But one of the things that I've learned is that certainty can also be found through having faith. Certainty can also be found through trusting that it's going to work out. It can be done through trusting that you've gotten through it before and you'll be able to get through it again. And when you pause and you're in that state of fear, that state of panic, and you just pause and you take a deep breath and you say, you know what? I've gotten through worse. I've gotten through tougher times. I'm going to be able to get through this too. What it does is it tricks your brain. It basically hijacks your amygdala, and it tricks your brain into realizing that you are safe. That fight or flight part of your brain isn't going to freak out, and then you kind of let go of that death grip need for certainty, and you're able to relax in the change. The only thing guaranteed is change, so we need to embrace it. That is tip number one. And once that tip is instilled, it becomes easier for number two, and that is to change the way we view a routine. If you view this is how a lot of entrepreneurs, at least how I used to do it, view a morning routine and an evening routine or any type of routine. They view it as, okay, I'm going to make a list of all the things that will make me feel good. I'm going to read a book, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do gratitude, I'm going to make sure and do my workout, I'm going to eat healthy, etc. And they pick those things that they think will make them feel amazing. But if they don't complete the entire checklist of items that make them feel amazing, they start to feel like they're not enough. You start to feel like you're not going to be primed for the day. You didn't do enough of your routine to feel good. And so I want to challenge you, and to see if this is true even when there's not a pandemic going on. Is your morning routine set up in a way where you are literally just going through trying to check all the boxes off to make sure that it's another way of craving certainty. Check all the boxes off, and that is your guarantee that you're going to feel great. But that's missing the purpose of a routine in the morning. The purpose of a morning routine is not to check all your boxes off. The purpose of a morning routine is to ensure that you prime your day to feel amazing. It's to be proactive instead of reactive. Because think of what happens if you don't have a routine set in place. If the first thing you do in the day is check and scroll your phone or check and scroll your email, it does something very, very detrimental to your mental health. It causes you to be living in reaction to the world around you instead of being proactive for how you want to live. This is what I learned from Brennan Burchard, is that if you don't check your email inbox or social media for the first 60 minutes of your day, you actually increase your daily productivity by over 30%. Because your inbox, your social media feed, it's nothing more than a convenient organizing tool for other people's priorities. That's all it is. It's if you check your email first thing and you're freaking out about this, I'll look at my inbox sometimes and I'll see an email from someone that rubs me the wrong way. And if I do that first thing, it sets me into this reactive, more negative mood. But the purpose of a morning routine is to prime yourself. Think about it. If gratitude, if meditation, if feeding your mind with something positive comes first before you respond, that makes you feel amazing. So the purpose of a morning routine is to prime yourself to feel great. My challenge for you is to ask yourself, can that be done with just a couple of things? If you're adapting to your kids being at home and your spouse being there and all this stuff, can it be done by just doing a couple of those things? Absolutely it can, because you've given up the idea of perfection. You've given up the idea that a morning routine is only successful if you check all the boxes. That's missing the entire point of a routine. It's to make sure you prime yourself to feel alive. It's to make sure you prime yourself for proactivity instead of reactivity. So if you do that, you can do it through just a couple of items. For example, if you were to read 5 pages of a great book laying in bed right when you wake up and do a 5-minute gratitude meditation, does that prime you to feel great? Does that make you more proactive in your day? Absolutely it does. And that didn't involve all those other things. See, we need to be adaptable to what's going on around us. So that leads me to number 3. And that is to pick just a couple of things that make you feel alive and make you feel amazing. With the chaos of everything going on, remove the perfection of a routine. And so in my own life, I normally have, when all this chaos isn't going on, I normally have a 3-hour monster of a routine. And it makes me feel amazing, and I absolutely love it. But do you think my routine needed to change being at my in-laws? Absolutely it did. So my routine is a lot different. Now, it's a 10-minute meditation in the morning, and I read a chapter of a good book. Or I listen to an episode in a course that I'm taking. That's my morning routine. That's what I do now. And some days I'm better at it, some days I'm worse, some days I only get my reading done, some days I just get my meditation done, but I give myself some grace. And I realize that, you know what? It's gonna pass. This is gonna be okay. I'll be able to get to my great morning routine when this kind of blows over and we go back to Chicago, all these things. But we need to realize that the purpose of a routine is not to check all the boxes, it's to prime yourself to feel amazing. So, number 3 is to pick a couple of things that make you feel great. And just focus on doing those things and allow that to give you your certainty that you're going to feel primed and ready for the day. Let the whole list off the hook. You're never going to get it all done. And when you do this, you're going to start to feel more control over your life. You're not going to feel like you're so far behind. You're going to see all these things on your to-do list or morning routine. You're not going to have this need to check them off anymore. And internally, it's going to change the game for you too. You're going to feel like you're making progress. You're going to feel like you're doing something, you're proactively starting your day. That's going to give you energy and momentum, and that's going to allow you to win during this time when the rest of the world is freaking out. And think about what that does long term. If you start winning right now when everyone else is backing off, when this passes, which by the way, it will pass, you are going to be so much further along than everyone else. So I hope you find value in this. I hope that you use this and apply it to your morning routine starting today or tomorrow, just to make sure that we let go of that perfection and that need for control. And don't forget to go and download your Mindset First Aid Kit. That's your go-to guide when you're in the dark times, you don't know how to break through all those limiting emotions. Instead of praying they go away, imagine no longer needing a week to get them back on track, but instead you do it in just a couple of minutes. I am challenged by this too. I am not perfect at this in any way. Yesterday, I had a time when I was dealing with some difficult emotions, and my wife helped me out with that, and I used the tools of my Mindset First Aid Kit to bounce back, and I was back in just a couple of minutes feeling better. That's what the First Aid Kit does for you. It's all linked up below this podcast, this video, and you can also find it at bradbizjack.com/mindset. And always, if you're finding value in this podcast, share it. Take a screenshot, post on your Instagram stories, give us a rating and review. I love seeing the feedback, love seeing how it's changed your life. So if you feel compelled to, we would absolutely love it if you left us a rating and review. Share this on your stories, share this on social. People need to hear this message right now so they can find peace in the uncertain time. I hope you found value today. My name is Brad Bizjack. Go out there today and every day and live your life with a genuine smile on your face. I'll see you next week.